I'm primarily someone who's characterized as an urban anthropologist, and I also work on the anthropology of finance. Most of my sort of primary research is based in South Africa. And my first research project was about the history of urbanization, specifically in the city of Cape Town. And I've since moved to a new project which is much more involved in questions of finance, the banking system, capital, and so on. And I would say the thing that is exciting about that is that I now have to think about how corporations work, how the private sector works. It's not that there aren't people in anthropology who do that work, but it's probably, if you will, relatively new as a subdisciplinary focus, and to the degree that that's the case, bleeding edge. So there is some literature, secondary source material to refer to, but not a great deal. And then thinking about how to do research, what is the method for studying corporations, banks, the financial system, is really a new endeavor for me and for other people who do that sort of work. African and African American Studies is an interdisciplinary department, and so to take my case as one example, and this is really pretty much the case across the board, I'm jointly appointed. I'm in African and African American Studies, and I'm also in cultural anthropology. And effectively what that means is that the vast majority of us in the department are operating on two levels at the same time. We come to the table with a whole array of expertise. We are produced by different disciplinary formations and trainings. And while that's challenging, the virtue in it is that we then have to have a conversation with one another. And we do actually find ways to do that. Some of the implications of that is that we can do comparative work. We also do interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary work. And I think that offers a sort of richness both horizontally and vertically, depth-wise, so that I can have, say, conversations with my colleague Sandy Darity about questions of inequity and economic inequality, knowing that he's done comparative work, he knows something about South Africa. I'm not an economist, but I'm interested in economics. And at the same time, I can perhaps offer him some really deep, rich, thick, descriptive analysis of, say, the South African situation. So I think that's one of the virtues. It also means that we're pretty freewheeling, and we get to talk about all sorts of things that, were we to just remain in our own silos, we wouldn't get to do. And those interdisciplinary conversations are also, I think, very high learning curves for all of us. So I know a great deal more about, say, the African American experience than I would if I were not in that department, or about the Black radical tradition, or about what I would call Black theory, which is theory, those kinds of things. It's enriching of my own intellectual development.